Right, so what do we have for you today? It's a fascinating interview with a fascinating personality in Indian cricket. I'm talking about Thirush Kamini, the girl who's really blossomed over the years. Since the age of 8, she picked up a bat and she's gone on to do wonders for India. And here she is to talk about women's cricket and cricket.com. Thirush, hope all is well in these doom and gloom times.
Yes, everything is fine. I'm really doing well. Hope you're staying safe and everything is fine on your end too.
Yeah, it's going on, it's stuttering along. Let's, of course, talk about the things which matter right now because let's get straight into it. You're the only cricketer to win that BCCI prestigious award thrice. Let me name it out for the viewers who are just joining us because the 2007-2008 Junior Player of the Year, the 2009-2010 Senior Player of the Year, and the 2012-2013 Senior Player of the Year. What works best as you for an Indian cricketer because you've, of course, been in the system for a long time?
I think that kind of the encouragement that BCCI. First initially when BCCI had induced that award like the BCCI Junior Cricketer of the Year or the Senior Cricketer of the Year, it kind of gave a huge motivation, and it was like imagine you do well in your domestic season and you get appreciated and recognized. I think it definitely paved way for me, and it definitely gave me a huge motivation. And definitely, I could say that I felt really proud when when I kind of received the award.
I mean, that's really modest of you to say that, but let's rewind the clock, I should say, because, like I said in that little introduction of yours, you picked up the bat at the age of 5, maybe, but then you went on to play for Tamil Nadu under 16 at the age of 8. What I'm trying to get here at is, of course, the junior pathway in women's cricket. Has it changed over the years? What's the difference?
I think people are more the opportunities for the junior cricketer has grown over the years. I think because earlier we never used to have that many number of tournaments as what is available for the cricketers for the present. When I would say that, I would say like under 16 we played one tournament, and under 19 there was just one tournament, and then after that the next tournament that one would play would be the senior category. But right now what's happened is in you have under 19, you have two formats that the girls are playing. You have the one day format, and you also play the T20. And also very recently BCCI had introduced the under 23 format just like the men's cricket. So this kind of opens, and it gives a huge platform for women cricketers and for the players of the junior category to kind of, especially the age category, and gives them a huge platform and an opportunity for them.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, and let's see how it will, of course, evolve going ahead in the future. But enough of the players, because I'll come back to that. I want to talk about the coaches, because, of course, off late in the news, India have got a new coach. I mean, I say new because he's been there at the helm, but then he's come back in Ramesh Powar. I want to understand some of the traits of a coach, because, I mean, because you played the sport, there's man managers and there's, of course, the technical side of things. Where do you think Ramesh Pawar fits into that? What's his makeup as a coach?
I think it's a good thing that we've had coaches, like we've had men coaches over the years, and we've had Raman sir before this, and now we've had Ramesh Pawar, who's come into the setup and who's already been there, and we had Tushar sir. And it's always nice to have men cricketers around because they'll be able to kind of guide you and understand the sport, and take it, because women's cricket is in a very important phase, because we're trying to get the team to win championships, because as a team Indian team is a very good team, like in terms of your talent or technicality, even as players. I think we are always in par with Australia or England. I think it's important that women's cricket is in a phase that we need the right people around to help us win the tournaments like a World Cup or the T20 World Cup and the 50 over World Cup. Now that we have the 50 over World Cup that's coming in, so this is, I think, it's a huge a place for someone like a Ramesh Pawar to kind of come in and pitch in and help the girls grow as a team.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that because it's food for thought, and was my next question to you, Thirush. The fact that the Indian women's cricket team has been starved of action. You take a look at, okay, the pandemic didn't help the cause, but still they didn't get that sort of artillery that the men's team get. But this year, it's looking all right with England coming, then of course the pink ball test later this year, the Commonwealth Games later next year. How excited are you just because you're part of the things in terms of the women's cricket circle?
I think it's really. I definitely have never compared women's cricket with the men's cricket. I generally have seen how women's cricket has evolved over the years, because like from the 2006 the BCCI merger has happened, or right after the 17 World Cup when Indian team got into the the finals, and right now even after the 2020 World Cup, where the Indians have got into the T20 World Cup, where they turned out to be the finalists even in that format. I think that is how I kind of evaluate women's cricket in general, like how they're able to grow in terms of a team. So that way, I think when the pandemic had happened, I think I'm very sure it must have been pretty difficult for the board as such to kind of handle the whole logistics of the women's cricket. But I'm pretty happy with whatever is upfront for the women's cricket at the moment. Like right from the, like you mentioned earlier, like the England series that's coming up, or the World Cup that is coming up next year, and then the Commonwealth Games. I think women's cricket as such has, like, they have a huge a platform for. I mean, they have big tournaments that are coming up in terms of the ICC tournaments, and I think it definitely paves room for a lot more cricketers. Like when you have a format like a test for cricket that's coming, if that kind of paves way for more players who are specialized. Like we can have more specialized teams, like in terms of your for your test matches, and in terms of your one day, and in terms of T20. That kind of paves way when you have a lot more tournaments happening. So that kind of paves way for a lot more cricketers to have the opportunity to play the international format.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. The fact that there is, of course, an influx in T20s in the women's game too. That was my next question, because I want to understand what's your take on the women's IPL. But before that, we talk about test matches being such a pivotal part of the game. I know it's conventional and old school, maybe the new generation doesn't like it. You take a look at the Indian women's team. I know they're playing a test match this summer, but previous to this, they played it, 7 years ago? So do you think that test matches should be actually played more, given that there is an influx in T20s?
I think it's important that you play the test format a lot more. Like even BCCI had got a multi-day tournament in the domestic format as well until a couple of years ago. I think that kind of it's important for women cricketers to play that format a lot more, because it kind of tests your fitness standards, or you test your skill level a lot more. So I think it's important that women's play a lot more test format. But definitely, I mean, when you look at in terms of trying to market the sport, in terms of like women's cricket being marketed, I think T20 is definitely a very good format. And I think everybody, I mean, in terms of all the board, in terms of your ICC, are also trying to do a great job in trying to promote the sport. But when you're trying to improve as a women cricketer, I think Test format really plays a very important role, because it's a very difficult format to play as a cricketer.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's why they call it Test cricket, and you would know best because you flourished. And I don't want to now just narrate all your records, because the fans can go see them, and there's some sparkling stats there that Thirush has dished out in her career. Enough of her gloating. I want to get her test right now in terms of the contracts, because it's an interesting topic. This 50 lakhs for the grade A women's cricketer, and there's three of them there in the new announced contracts. And then you look at the men's, and I know you're not a big advocate of comparing women's to men's cricket, but just in this regard, what do you have to say?
Like I've mentioned earlier, I think it's important that we don't compare women's cricket with men's cricket, because they have been in that structure for a really long time. And it's completely understandable that men cricketers are getting paid in terms of 7 crores when you talk about, and then a women cricketer in par who earns only 50 lakh. But you have to understand the kind of growth that women's cricket has had over the years, because until a few years back, women cricketers didn't have a contract system. Now I think we should appreciate the fact that we are having a contract system, and players who are doing well are also part of the contract system. So I think it's also going to take its time to kind of all the things to happen, and I don't think it's fair on on a women cricketer's part to kind of compare themselves in terms of men's cricket. But the growth has been extremely dramatical, and it has really helped a lot of women cricketers to take up the sport professionally. I think in the due course of time, things would change, and we will. It's important to understand that we kind of see women's cricket as a separate entity, rather than trying to compare them with the men's cricket.
Yeah, let's see if that actually comes true. I hope it does, and several watching this will echo my thoughts. Finally, you have the rare distinction of being the only women cricketer in the history of the game, wait for it, to have struck the field. What happened there, Thirush?
That was, I mean, that happened against the West Indies, and Like I kind of played the shot, and when I had got back, and I got obstructed the field when I was trying to get back to the crease. But it was very interesting is because that time the wicket keeper of the West Indies team, she just kind of, just for a fun part, she kind of appealed, and the umpire really took it very seriously and had given me out. So, I mean, it was something that
And
I'm
I'm
not very proud of either.
and I'm pretty sure that the Vijayawada crowd there was not happy with their local lady going away.
Yes, I mean it was kind of very, disheartening to get out in that manner for the Indian team. And but I felt it was a little harsh on me because that was a person that had happened, and probably a little more lenience would have helped me, because it was not, my intention was not to really obstruct the field. I was just trying to get back to the crease, but then I mean when you kind of, it was like a light banter that was going on, then suddenly it all gets very serious and you're like out obstructing the field. I mean it came as a shocker to me, because it was, I mean sometimes you kind of feel that you intentionally try to obstruct the field and then you get out. I mean it really makes sense, but my intentions were not that. It was just trying, I was just trying to get back to the wicket, because there was a throw that was coming in, and it happened to kind of end up in a very dramatic and a very bad way. So, yeah.
No, we believe you. We, of course, don't doubt your story. It makes for a good story, though. But having said that, it's been fantastic talking to you. And, of course, the pertinent points you mentioned, I really hope it comes true in the grander scheme of things in terms of women's cricket. We can wish the Indian Eves well in terms of their jam-packed schedule. And it's so rare that we say that, and hope I say that more, because more the merrier is what they say in terms of women's cricket. Thanks, Thirush, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much. It was nice talking to you.
Well, that was Thirush Kamini just shedding light on women's cricket and what we can expect really from the given scenario. But having said that, it's a goodbye from me, Abhish Hegde. Subscribe to cricket.com and check out our social media handles because it's fantastic, just like this interview.